but it was the only thing that could have been done because I knew I had found what God had. I prayed for this woman and God gave it to me. So to your point, when we get what we pray for, we have to be good stewards over it. We have to bless it with honesty, with courage, because it took courage for me to even call this girl and to tell her. It took courage for me to tell her, you know what I'm gonna do? Because you think I'm such and such and such? Because she was scarred like most black women.
Oh yeah.
She was
damaged.
She wasn't ready to receive.
No.
She ain't prayed for me like that. You know what I'm saying? She was the answer to my prayer. But God had brought her, I was the answer to her prayer too, but she didn't know. but because I knew I had prayed for this woman and I knew that it was something that God had given me, I had a greater faith than with any other relationship. I could be faithful with this woman, which was something, bro, I'm telling you, bro, you in the league, you know what it is. You know, you scratch now.
Relationships matter. I need you to understand. Relationships matter.
Welcome to Relationships Matter. I'm Chanel Scott.
And I am Josh Powell.
And we have some amazing guests here with us today. We have Mr. Jay and April Parker Jones. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Chanel, Josh, pleasure.
Hey y'all.
Hey. And so we've been chopping it up offline, y'all.
Yes.
But the first thing I want to talk about is what you're doing today, because you are on P-Valley and you're on Bel Air.
Yes.
I want to talk about that first before we get into the relationship talk. P-Valley.
P-Valley, girl, look, first of all, April and I are just really blessed to be a part of two shows that are really resonating with the culture.
Yes. That's
So that's
true.
always a blessing.
Yes.
And I know it's been a long wait for those, the Pink Posse.
Yes.
Is that the name for it?
That's the name of the fans of P-Valley.
The Pink Posse?
The Pink Posse.
I like that.
You know, and so my character, Prince, was introduced at the end of season 2
Yes.
at the funeral of Big Teak. But season 3, that long wait is going to be justly rewarded.
Okay.
You know, we've been working really hard. Katori Hall has put together an amazing story that'll bring together some of the plot that a lot of people are familiar with.
Yes.
Introduce some new things that people are going to be shocked by. And but all in all, it's going to be an amazing, amazing time down in Chucalissa. So make sure they tune in. Y'all tune in for season 3.
As a part of the Pink Posse,
Yes, yes.
I'm going to ask you,
Yes.
when should we expect it?
Good. That is a great.
That's the golden question.
That's the golden question. So we really, really working hard to knock them out. So we kind of halfway through the shooting schedule. We are supposed to be working up until right around November.
Okay.
So, but we're getting them in. I don't know what network got in store, how they want to release them or not.
Okay.
But they're definitely
Okay.
cooking.
Okay.
And they're gonna be ready to be consumed real soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Josh, what you saying? Josh answer question. You trying to answer about the paint? You trying to see what's going on in their ball?
Oh, no problem.
Listen.
You gonna have your shirt bust open like this on the thing?
Oh, I'm gonna have the shirt bust open now.
We got the flag going on.
Before you go into yours, let me know, because I just want to ask for the young fellas.
Yeah.
At what age is there the switch, the OG package?
Oh, you know.
Where you go to the side.
Okay.
When that leg go up. You know what I'm saying? Like at what point do you get to rubbing that thigh, man? At what point do we hit, like, is that like cause I'm 41.
Okay.
And I know I'm like,
I'm
I
gonna
don't know,
tell you.
is that like at 43 and a half?
I'm gonna tell you. This is really when you start feeling it.
Because you got your shirt open, right?
Yeah.
She tried, listen, we did a photo shoot one time. I kept telling her, like, this ain't it. This ain't it.
She tried to bust you open.
Oh, man, with the
I didn't release
with the Saatchi, I had the gold. Man.
He was too young for that. I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
I was not ready, bro.
What is the switch?
Once that gray start really overtaking you, once that gray get hold of that beard,
It's the salt.
start getting this salt and pepper on you, bro.
But you still got baby hairs, though. You still got a whole situation going
And
on.
see, that's the thing, because Chanel and I were talking,
Okay.
you know, post 50 ain't what it used to be back in the
No,
day.
it's
So
not.
you still remember, man, hip hop was born in 1972.
Okay.
Right? We still rocking the hip hop to this very day.
That's right.
A lot of your
That's
hip
right.
hop idols my age.
Yeah.
So we still carry the flag of cool, fly, but we just, like I just said offline, never underestimate the gangster that done outlasted them all.
That's right. That's
So
right,
when you
baby.
get that gray on your face,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
swag come with it, because you know, brother, I've reached a tier that is coveted in this community.
better say
Black
that.
men deserve to get old, bro. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? A lot of us don't do it.
Yes.
So when we do it,
Yes.
even young cats got to
Yes.
salute OG.
Yeah, yeah.
So I receive it.
Yeah, then
Because you
switch
pass
up.
on.
I'm past
yes,
on.
yeah.
You know, you on.
Yeah,
you
you
might
on.
be on right now. To these young 41, you might be
Yeah,
on.
you on.
But OG coming
Yes,
gray
the
up.
grays.
Then you start getting monochrome outfits. Like this. You know what I'm saying? You get the top and the bottom to
you
match,
clean, listen.
and you stay fresh. You get them in all kind of
on,
shades
man.
and sizes,
Go
and then you
ahead.
throw your gators on. You throw your gators on. You graduate to this though. The Jordans get switched out for the gators, and all the
Ooh,
jerseys you get the
I don't
monochrome outfit on.
I'm slow,
Oh,
man.
is that
gotta
ever
be
gonna
simple.
happen? He said the Jordans get switched
Yeah.
out for the game.
I mean, I still got my Jordans though. Don't trip. You still, you know, you go
I
to
think my version of Gator is these Vans.
Hey man, see, that's the
That's
unc
right.
in you.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
unc
the
in you
unc.
right there. The Vans old school, but you still fly, and you still
Very fly.
still speaking volumes to your generation. You
I
represent.
appreciate that.
You
I
represent.
appreciate that.
You
Thank
feel?
you. I'm gonna take this home. When we bust this clip down, I'm gonna make sure
Make sure you.
I'm gonna heart it in my favorites because you done passed it down. I've been meaning to ask this question for a long time.
Hopefully, I answered it for you and
No,
all
you
the
did
viewers that
that.
had it in their
You
heart.
did that.
Because I'm telling you, man, somebody else had that question too, Big J, and I'm
Yeah,
glad you asked it for you and for them.
There we go.
That's a fact.
Yes.
Word.
Okay. Here we go.
So
I don't know if I can top that. Hi, I'm April.
talk about no,
Jay's wife.
Please, the Queen. I present the Queen, ladies and
The
gentlemen.
Queen.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Bel Air.
Bel
Yes.
Air.
Talk
How
about
about
it.
that? I mean, so there's this awesome remake, and you know, Black people are hard on remakes. We're hard on most things, but here comes along this reimagining of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and I go, oh my gosh, how are Black people going to receive this? Is this going to be crappy? Are they going to laugh at it? And it just took off. It touched a nerve. I guess it answered a call to what reimagining characters look like too, not just your basic reboot. It was an absolute reimagining. So we kept these same characters, but brought them up to the present day. So I play Vi. I play Will's mom. So the show, season 1, it starts off in Philly. So we get to see kind of what happened to Will post the fight that got him to Bel Air. So we get underneath that, what the fight was about on the basketball court. So it starts off in Philly. Jabari, the young man who plays Will, the very first day of shooting, we got to shoot in Philly, on the streets of Philly, and it was...
And he's from Philly.
And he's from Philly, this newcomer who just looks so much like Will Smith and has the swag. But we got to shoot the very first episode of the season in Philly. And man, when I tell you, it just took off. Like I said, I guess it answered a call, a need for people to see these characters we fell in love with. Years ago, we get to see them now in this raw version. So yeah, I play Will's mom, Vi. I think it's
And then they look just
I think
alike.
it's great cast. I was just about to say, I think it's really great casting, not because it's a job for me, but because Jabari and I have this chemistry. I would say I have 2 daughters. If I had a son, he would be like my
Jabari.
son.
Yeah,
like Jabari.
and physically,
So,
and you know.
Yeah, so it's in season 3. We just finished season 3. I just did a couple of episodes for season 3. It'll come out August 15th. So we have a date for your viewers. August 15th will be the
the
start
network.
of season 3. And the network, Peacock.
Peacock.
Yeah, so it's been great. I think it'll go on season after season. They've done a great job with the casting, with the writing. Yeah, I'm having a blast.
Does Will play a part in all of that? Is he a part of the project?
He's one of the executive producers. I've not met him, but he is one of the executive producers. So yeah, he definitely has a hand in it. it's been a dream come true.
Wow,
A dream
you guys
come
are
true.
living. You guys both are living the dream.
Man,
We are.
we give God
to
all
God
the
be the
glory
glory,
because
yeah.
we two theater actors. We just met in the little dank basement in Brooklyn,
Oh
right?
yeah, we're theater
And,
actors.
and
you
so
know,
to have God bless us
Yeah, this
to be a
is-
part of some shows that's a part of the culture.
it's
you know,
it's a blessing.
out of all the actors in the world, for
Yeah.
us to have that opportunity, we do not take it lightly.
No, we don't. Because we have our ups and downs in this
Yeah.
industry, as everybody knows that. But this has been, we are living the dream.
And we receive that.
And I'm grateful.
We don't like, nah, we
Yeah.
are. We
Yes.
are. And we're grateful to God for it because we'll unpack more of our
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
but it took, faith.
Yes.
Faith
Yeah.
and consistency.
Yeah.
Consistent
Consistency.
faith. You know
That's
what
the
I'm saying?
word.
Yeah, consistency and faith,
yeah.
consistent faith.
Yes, consistent faith.
Because
Yeah.
this business in life in general for a black couple,
Oh, my goodness.
is rough. But when you are entertaining, it's even rougher.
Yes, it is.
So you got to
Yeah.
really protect it.
Protect it.
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So we'll talk about ways that we protect it.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
yes.
So
yes.
I had as we transition, right, because we're about to cut to a break.
Yeah.
There's something I want to ask you both as we transition into the relationship side of it.
For sure.
Because you are both amazing actors and actors, right, and the talent level and everything, because y'all take these deep dives into the roles that you play. Do y'all bring that energy home? And
That's
I'll
an
wait.
excellent
Let's
question.
pause on
Okay,
it.
we'll pause. That's
But
okay.
I did want to ask because
Okay.
That's a great question.
for a lot of people that are successful, right, they don't know how to remove the cape once they get to the house.
Ooh, okay.
So when we
Okay.
get back,
Okay.
we're going to hear from you,
That's unpack.
you both,
Okay.
in regards to what that looks like. Relationships matter.
Relationships matter.
Welcome back to Relationships Matter. So before we went to break, we were talking about how do you balance being in the industry and then your home life. Talk more about that.
Yes, I think Josh was saying also, like, do we bring in those emotions or maybe the characters from back home? Do we take the cape off? I can say for me, I don't necessarily bring the characters back home, Josh. What I do bring home is sometimes maybe the disappointment of not getting a role, or the stress sometimes of just the inconsistency of things.
Right.
So I bring that home. But the good thing about having a partner who's in the industry is he understands.
Yeah.
He understands, and then he can help uplift and encourage when we don't get a part or if something doesn't go right. So I wouldn't say I bring the characters home. I might be able to leave that there, but I do bring in sometimes that the disappointment of the rejection. It's a lot of rejection. So what about
Well,
you,
outside
Jay?
of a job, before he goes,
Yes.
when you say when something doesn't go right, like, could you expound on that? Like, what does that mean?
I guess if something doesn't go right, maybe like if I didn't do the scene the way that I want to do it, like let's say that if it shoots fast and I didn't get a chance to do a bunch of takes, and maybe I didn't bring out what I wanted to bring out in that scene, but we had to keep going. So it's like, oh man, I hope it translates well on camera, and so kind of being disappointed with that. We're all worst critics, artists, and for me, it's never good enough. I mean, I always find those. Jay can tell you, I always find those things about my performance or how I look, and I'm disappointed with it. So just learning how to be okay with and trust what I'm giving as an artist is enough. So that part is work. It's work.
Yeah.
With me, I take a little deeper dive in certain characters because when I get characters, like I'm a theater guy, so I love to play characters. I don't like just play the dad. I want to play like a super villain or something
Yes,
like
and
that.
he
You know what I'm saying?
does.
I want to play
Yes.
something big and something. So when I get that opportunity, I really do take that deep dive. Like right now, the research that she'll tell you, the research I'm
Yes.
doing for this character for P Valley, I'm a gang guy. So I'm deep diving into the gang cultures again. I'm reading books and
Yes,
watching documentaries.
documentaries.
And, she might hear me in the bathroom going crazy.
Yes.
Because I'm trying out voices.
Like, what are you
know what I'm
doing?
saying?
What are you doing in there? What are you doing in there, bro? I'm like, what are you doing?
And she always correct me. I'm like,
the
I'm
grand-
killing it. She's like, you're not killing.
You know
what I'm saying? The
I'm
character's
like,
killing. You're
just
Jay is
calm
not.
down.
And so,
but yeah, he does. He takes a deeper dive.
I
he does.
do sometimes bring it, but it's not to the point where I'm, method.
No.
Where I'm
No.
like so into the character that I'm talking in that character's voice to my kids and all that, to my grandkids and stuff. I don't do that.
No.
But to your point, yes, there is times where you have to bring it to the house because it's it's an art thing that you submerge yourself into, you know, and sometimes, you know, it takes more energy to come out of it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like next week I'm shooting all week. So all week it's gonna be pretty much
Yeah.
locked
Gangsta.
in.
Lots- yeah.
Pretty much gangster.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much gangster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I got my hair braided. You know,
I did this,
grew
by the
my
way.
hair out
I
for
braided
this
his
character.
hair.
It's good.
Thank you. You know, but this took a year. You know, that so I
Yeah.
knew I was gonna be doing this. So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what, I wanna
Embody it.
I'm gonna embody. So
Yeah.
it took a year to grow my hair, and you know, I
Yeah.
had my hair braided since I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like, came home, you think you can catch this? And I was like, come on, Jay. Come on, I'm tired of braiding hair. I've been braiding hair my whole life. And I got to braid your hair, bro?
So to your point, that's the character got her braiding hair.
Yeah.
Now. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
so yeah, I do go there sometimes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, but it depends on
But
the
it's like,
role.
how could you not? Because people mimic what they see on TV
Yeah.
just in day-to-day life. So to
That's a
embody a
fact.
whole character
Yeah.
and role.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's
know?
a fact. You have to really do that extra work, and you know, working on the show that the universe is so well established and everybody's so well established and they working so hard and it's, you know, so real. You know, everything's so real. You don't want to be the weak link.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like in the
Yeah.
league. You know, when you going against the best team,
Yeah.
you gonna want to give them your best.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you might want to do a little extra film study.
Yeah.
You might be in there, take a few more jumpers, you know, just to make sure, you know, that's how I feel about this particular show. And all shows sometimes, but you don't want to admit, but they don't have the same gravitas. So you ain't gotta get all that.
So we talked about the character, right?
Right.
What are you both doing personally? Cause y'all are both preparing for these roles, you know what I mean, and you're working. But it's also important to not forget about self. So I want to know, outside of husband, wife, children, work, and I know y'all probably got a million other grinds. What are y'all doing for yourself?
That's a beautiful
Josh,
question.
I probably should be doing
Especially
more.
for her. She need to answer that question.
Yeah, I probably should be doing more. You know, all those things that you just listed, you know, aside from a career, being a wife, being a mom, being a grandma now, and everybody's at the house.
they all live
Most
with
of
her.
my time is really consumed with giving, making sure the house is being ran properly, and making sure that the kids are happy, they're having what they need, they feel whole and fulfilled. So what does April do for April? I try to work out a couple days a week. That gun show. How about that? Look at that. Viewers, I try to work out a couple days a week. I don't probably do nearly as much for myself as I should. So thank you for just
For
bringing
reminding.
that up. I need to unpack that some more and really start doing more for myself. But
And I
yeah.
attribute it, I call it the black woman, the black superwoman syndrome.
He calls it a superwoman
You know what I'm
syndrome.
saying?
It's
'Cause
just
it's what?
it's just wanting to make
The
sure
fact that he couldn't even acknowledge
I know.
that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
She
Yeah.
can't sit still. Like she do look. When we were younger in our relationship, I was like, "You doing busy work? Why you just do
I'll be
busy
swift-
all the time?"
sweeping the floors,
and this
cleaning.
was years ago.
Yeah.
But even to this day,
I know.
she can't. Like she say, she can't sit down. If we chilling at the house, she'd get up and just start swifting the floor or wiping down the counters.
I
or something.
know.
I'm
Just
like,
trying
"Why
to
don't you
keep
sit
order.
down?"
I'm just trying to keep
and,
order.
And then I gotta put a cocktail in front of her.
Now I would
to
have a
sit
nice
her down.
cocktail. I'm a sucker for a good Long Island iced tea. I'm not gonna lie.
We both are.
But yeah, Josh, thank you, because that is we do well as women. I imagine I'm not the only one. We do kind of forget about what do we do for ourselves outside of just trying to make sure everybody else is okay. So I'm gonna make that my homework.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a real good friend of mine. She actually did our show, Dr. Spirit, and we had to do some work last week together. And I want to say I've probably been in and out of therapy for 30 years, easily, right? I'm doing a lot of work.
Good,
That's
good, good.
I told her, you know what I mean, because I was like, last week I was like super heavy, and I was like on this verge of like just crashing, like, and I just told her, I'm like, man, like I'm trying to figure out what that next thing is,
Yeah.
because sitting down, talking, doing this, doing that, and she was like, you probably need to check into one of my facilities, and I was just like, okay, what does that look like?
Yeah.
You know, she was like, well, it's not from you have a mental issue, but sometimes you just got to hit the reset button and like get away from, you know, the day in and day out, whether it's, you know, being a father or relationship wise or friendships or business or whatever. And it just hit me, man, because I was just like, you know, I needed that confirmation. But the other things, because I've been doing that for so long, it was like I've kind of graduated. And what's the next thing? Because I need something that's gonna really like get it out of me. And she was just like, sit still.
Sit still. Oof.
Boy,
If I
that's
could
it.
do that.
Go check in. She was
Yeah.
like, go, you know, I'll set it up for you, but
Look
just
at that.
get away. No, you know, by yourself.
Yeah.
Put the phones down.
Yeah,
Just tap in. So you know, I know
Okay.
we're all busy.
Yeah.
Chanel,
Yeah.
you know, you both and everything that you're doing, but you know,
Thank you.
I understand this is the mental health month, and I don't believe like, listen, what are we
Every
doing
month,
on a
boy.
daily?
Yeah.
Moment to moment.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked.
Thank
you.
you.
Know what I'm saying? And I appreciate your
Thank
honesty.
you.
And what about you, King?
To your
you.
point,
Thank you.
You just answered it. That's exactly what I do. I tap in to them quiet times. You know, I got a place called The Lair at the house. That's my gym. It's a gym in a little spot where, you know, I chill, my little lounge spot. But I can go in there all day and not be bothered by anybody, which I'm grateful for, because the kids know, my wife know that when I'm in The Lair, I'm reading. That's why I get my Stoic study in. You know, I've taken up golf recently in the past year. You know, so I'll go to the golf course by myself to play, because it's me against the course. I'm not competing because I'm new still. So, but it's also a place for me to go and commune. I need to be outside. You know, I train outside, but to your point, I want to be still outside. So golf, you can kind of have the best of both worlds. So that's another retreat for me. And you know, copious amounts of cannabis.
Copious amounts of cannabis. Copious amounts. Hey, it's natural.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah.
And I've been doing that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm an artist, man, and I don't just always attribute it to artistry, but you know, I don't do much of anything
No,
else
he doesn't.
vice wise.
No.
You know, alcohol
Stays in
really
great
ain't my
shape.
thing. You know, because
Yeah.
as when we were in California, when we first met, you'll know about this in our deeper conversation about our relationship. But I was a personal trainer for 8 years in California.
Yeah.
So, you know, fitness is a lifestyle. It's a habit, not a hobby, you know. So I tell anybody, fitness is the fountain of youth.
Yes,
if you
it
want to
is.
stay young, feeling and looking and acting, stay in great shape, you know. So my moniker was the fitness minister, because we combine fitness and faith, because I feel like the best thing you can do to show your creator how much you appreciate your gift of life is to take care of your body.
Your temple.
You know what I'm saying? Your temple, your one greatest gift is tangible that God has given you is a body and a mind. Take care of it, you know. So
No, that's beautiful, man. So when we get back, lovely conversation.
Josh.
Love to pivot. Want to dive into you both as parents
Okay.
and see what that looks like when we
That's
get
an
back.
excellent choice.
Relationships matter.
Relationships matter.
Welcome back to Relationships Matter. So guys, before we get into the parenting piece, because I know we want to dive into that, I want to talk about your backstory.
Okay.
Like, how did you guys meet? Where did you meet? What did that look like? And I want to hear from both perspectives.
Good.
3 questions
It's
in
good.
one.
Oh, yeah,
Look
but
at
it's
that.
good.
Wasn't that awesome?
It was awesome.
she laid it down flat.
Chanel, girl, you bomb.
You know, 'cause,
Down
you know,
flat.
Look,
relationship, I'm going to get all in your
Yes.
business. We can do it here. We can do it at the house. However you want to
Well,
do
let's
it.
do it.
Listen, that's a
Well,
wonderful
let me start
question.
it off. Go
It's
ahead,
a
girl.
great story. I'll try to sum it up as quickly as
From
I
her
can.
perspective
From my
now.
perspective. Jay and I are both theater actors. We met doing a play in Brooklyn, New York in 2004, 2003, 2004.
Started at
It was a 2-character love story. And we've basically been together since the first rehearsal.
Wow.
Yes, I know. Who
That's
knew?
the skinny? That's it?
Well, that's pretty much the skinny. And so, yeah. You
You
want
want me to color it?
Yeah, I need you to
You know,
color
okay.
that.
So y'all was on
'Cause
set.
you-
Y'all was on
did-
set.
yeah, I
Y'all
just-
was on set.
We
I
was
just-
on set.
I was just
So
in the
let me tell you- so let me tell you
I'll
the
let
story.
him fill it in
So
with
let me-
shaded in. He done got out and lean.
So let me tell you the story. So I had moved to New York from Pittsburgh, and this is I'm gonna give you the long, skinny, short story. I moved to New York from Pittsburgh. I was married, and I had 3 kids. Right, I had a kid from my relationship, from my marriage, and I had 2 kids before I even got married. So I had 3 kids. So I was really, and I'd maybe been divorced from my first wife for maybe about a year. Right. So I'm doing theater in Pittsburgh, and I prayed on. I was going from Pittsburgh to New York because I was living in New York, my home base. But I was doing theater. So on a bus ride back from Pittsburgh one time, I had my little girlfriend in Pittsburgh and everything. So I'm on the bus ride back. I'm like, you know what? I'm just so tired of this, man. I just need something in my life to cleave to. I need something. I need a change. This lifestyle ain't getting it no more. I don't know what. I just prayed it. I was on the bus looking out the window. 2 days later, I get an audition notice, right, for this play. And I go, and they tell me it's a 2-person stage play. April wasn't there. April had lived in New York for 8 years, but she had just moved back to North Carolina. So whoever I was auditioning with wasn't the person. Right. But the people who were there were telling me how great this actress is. She's a great actress. We've already done the show. It was very successful.
Yeah, I've done it already.
We just need another actor who's up to speed with her, and the chemistry has to be right because there's only 2 people in the show and all of this stuff. So I'm like, yo, that's dope. She sounds great. Da 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 da. So I go, audition, don't hear much. Then I get a call back, and then I come back, it's still not April. It's a pregnant woman. So I'm like, is this woman? No, it's not April. She's still in North Carolina. So I do it with the pregnant woman, and it goes well, and I get the part. Do I get the part?
You get the part.
I get the part.
You get the part. We have to do kind of. We have to do a chemistry read.
Right.
Yes.
No, I don't get the part.
Yes, we had to do a chemistry
So we
read.
get the chemistry read, and I didn't get the part. Another guy gets the part.
That's right, another guy got the part.
Another guy gets. This
He
is
was good.
crazy. Another guy gets the
This was
part.
so long ago, guys. This was like 20 years ago.
They rehearse like 3 times.
Yes, he was good.
He was good. But the director of this play, whom I'd never met in my life, who I didn't know, never even seen, told her, who he knew quite well because they'd been working together. She said, well, look, we had another brother come in. But if we call this brother back, I think you're going to like this brother. She was like, what you mean? She was like, no, I think you're going to like him.
Yes, Jackie told me
I
that.
don't know why he said that.
Yes.
But the first time I came to the theater to meet her, because they called me back in, she was late. So I'm sitting there talking to the director, talking to the writer of the play, and all of a sudden the doors, and I swear to God it felt like this. All of a sudden the doors bust open. We in the basement. The doors bust open. She's like this, man, breath of fresh air from the South. She got this swag. She got a little jean jacket. She like Whitley from a different world type. Just her energy was crazy. And I like fell in love with her.
Wow.
Like that moment when she walked in the room, it was like a movie. And then we started rehearsing and we did the thing, and then we did the movie, the show took off.
Yeah, we did it in North
Carolina.
Festival. We did it off
fell in love.
Broadway.
Like, the director saw us one time because we were in separate. I would ride the train with her because I lived in Harlem and she was living in the Bronx. I would ride past my stop to ride the train with her up to the Bronx.
He did.
And then you let her get off, and then, I'd ride my train back. But one time we was in Times Square getting ready to ride the train, and we was lovey-dovey. And nobody in the theater knew that we was kind of close like that. The director was across the train
on the other
tracks.
side of the train tracks, looking.
Watching the whole
like,
time. Watching this. And then the train, it was crazy, the train, and we see him across the tracks.
Like, oh, well, there goes our secret.
Well, cat out the bag.
So
now.
it's a great story. It's detailed, but it was so ordained.
It was so
so beautiful.
She was the one.
What I'm hearing is,
She was the one.
because y'all know I'm extra.
Is that right, Josh?
What I'm hearing is, I got a little bit of extraness in me. Basically, you did the Sierra before Sierra. So we need to really give you your flowers because you were the first person to put the prayer up and get what you asked for.
My man.
It wasn't a CC thing. So we
wasn't a
broke
CC
that
thing.
story right
Yeah,
here
that's
I wrote
right.
it.
on Relationship
That's
right.
Matters.
Yes.
But
Facts.
outside of that,
Facts.
still shout out to CC, but outside
We
of
give
that,
CC love
let
for
me
the
say
prayer.
this though. I think that, for one, I think a lot of people wish that their story could be like that.
Word.
Right?
Word.
But I do salute y'all because
It's
that
so
really is
I appreciate
beautiful
you.
that you can
I
just
appreciate you.
put some energy in the air and then things happen. The universe really listens.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
And that's why it's
Yes.
important, like the power of the tongue. So
Oh, yes.
I really enjoy listening to
It's
you
great
both.
story.
You
It's
know,
so much
tell that.
more to it. It's some
already
really
know.
beautiful.
Because I want to know
beautiful-
what happened to the girlfriend.
Right, right.
So let me tell you. Let me tell you.
This is a good,
Let me
good
tell
story.
you. Let me
Josh,
tell you.
listen.
So the girlfriend,
Oh, she was pissed.
so she was a beautiful actress,
Yes.
beautiful sister, nothing wrong with her.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like, we broke up because something was wrong. It was nothing. She was a wonderful human being, but this was just ordained.
Yeah.
It was just ordained.
Wow.
So I said, all right, I'm gonna show this girl how I got this player, because I was a player. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna show her that I'm willing to really, really hang up.
What's
this jersey.
that?
I was a player, Josh. You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
Everybody's
version is different.
Let me break it down.
Okay.
So I was an artist who was really in tune with my feminine energy, which
Okay.
attracted feminine energy to me.
Okay.
I was a man, but I really could understand
Yeah, he
feminine
does.
energy.
Okay.
So I was completely open to that, which drew a lot of women to me.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it.
And I was and I was grateful for their presence, and I enjoyed it.
Yes.
You feel me?
Oh.
So
I feel you.
that was a player in that
I feel
capacity.
you.
You know, I wasn't
You feel
I
like
wasn't
Derek
I
G.
wasn't a gorilla pimp or nothing like that. You know, I wasn't a dude who took advantage or
Right.
anything of that nature. As far as I went, maybe some people may have thought that, but it was never malicious. There was never anything
That's your
malicious.
word.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
he's really a kind
Not
guy.
malicious.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
ain't
so,
never just-
I heard you use
so
that
you
word.
feel-
yes.
important.
So the
That's
girlfriend.
important.
So the girlfriend.
The girlfriend. Quickly get to the story.
This is skinny. I'm gonna get to the nuts
Okay.
and bolts. I called her up.
He called
I had
her.
April come. She came. She was like, I don't want to do this over the phone.
Yeah.
She came to New York.
The
from
girlfriend.
Pittsburgh.
The girlfriend.
And wonderful human being. And I just wanted to do it because I wanted to be fair to her. I wanted to be fair to her, and I wanted to be fair to April. So I was honest with everybody.
You brought them together?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now we're going too far.
No, because that would be disrespectful. I didn't want to disrespect her,
No.
and I didn't want because she was too beautiful. She was a too good of a person. So I wanted to be honest. Like a lot of cats feel like they can't do that because they're burning a bridge.
I'm glad you're saying that.
A lot of cats
It's
feel like that,
important.
man. I can't
Yeah.
do that, bro. I can't be. But if you really if you want God to bless this thing
Yeah.
and you want to be anointed with what you're doing,
Yeah.
that's why we still together. Because I had done things the opposite way for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
trying to have my cake and eat it too.
Yeah. But get to the story of this. So good. I want you. He called her. Get to the story.
So I called
You
her. She meets me at the train station, at the bus station, that same damn bus station. You know, the Port Authority in New York, and she comes and we have a conversation
Yeah,
right
just had
there,
a conversation. Yeah.
right there at the Port
Yeah, I met
Authority. And I
somebody.
explained it to her. Look,
Yeah.
I met somebody, and I think I'm gonna roll with her. I'm so sorry. And shit, yeah, it hurt her. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse.
No, you're fine.
You know, yes, it hurt. It hurt me. You know, but it was the only thing that could have been done because I knew I had found what God had. I prayed for this woman, and God gave it to me. So to your point, when we get what we pray for, we have to be good stewards over it. We have to bless it with honesty, with courage, because it took courage for me to even call this girl and to tell her. It took courage for me to tell her, you know what I'm gonna do? Because you think I'm such and such and such? Because she was scarred like most black women.
Oh, yeah.
She was
I was damaged.
She wasn't ready to receive.
no.
She ain't prayed for me like that. You know what I'm saying? She was the answer to my prayer. But God had brought her. I was the answer to her prayer too, but she didn't know it. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
She just didn't know it at the
Indeed.
time.
Indeed.
So I had to work, bro. You know, and like I said, I was a woman's man, so I wasn't used to working. You know what I mean? I wasn't used to having to really unpack a woman and be patient with her and deal with her little, you know what I'm saying, sabotage. Because you know how women self-sabotage when they think something going too good.
Right.
They're like, oh,
Or
he
if
too
you're
good.
damaged. You
Yeah,
know,
or if you're
damaged.
damaged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you expect something to
Yeah,
happen wrong.
absolutely.
You know, so I had to
Yeah.
work through that because that was a thing.
Yeah,
you
we
know,
had a lot to work
We
through.
had a lot to work through.
Yes.
But because I knew I had prayed for this woman and I knew that it was something that God had given me, I had a greater faith than with any other relationship. I could be faithful with this woman, which was something, bro, I'm telling you, know, bro, you in the league, you know what it is. You know, you scratch now. Good looking brother like yourself, 6'9" or whatever you is, boy. So you know.
We gonna
Don't try to change the subject. Don't try to change the subject.
So when we get back, because I'm still gonna ask my question about parenting.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I thought what you did was beautiful. And I want to ask you both when we get back, what does that work look like that you both had to do for yourselves in regards to each other when we get back relationships?
Tight.
Relationships matter.
Welcome back to Relationships Matter. So before we went into the break, I know we still got to get to them kids,
We're going to get to them kids, Josh.
but you were talking about the journey, and then, you know, mentioning how you used to live your life.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask both of you, what does the personal work look like for yourselves and for each other, right? Because there's work involved, and I mean, you both have been together for 20 years. That's beautiful. So whoever wants to go first.
I guess I'll start off. I mean, listen, when I met Jay, I really was, I hate to say that, but damaged. I was damaged of past relationships, past trauma as a child, you know, just having to bear witness to things that probably I shouldn't have had to bear witness to. So Jay met me at a time where I was super, super scarred. The work that I had to do is, well, I'm still doing it, Josh, and to be transparent, I'm probably doing a lot of that healing through being busy. Because I know you mentioned earlier in another segment, you know, what was I doing for myself personally? And I go, not sitting still. And maybe that's part of the way I kind of heal myself. But the other way that I've had helped to get through those things was with Jay. He's healed me so much. And I think mainly is just through being patient and seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I never had a partner who did that work of patience like Jay has done. So I'm really grateful. That's why I know it was ordained, because he saw past those scars and said, wait, there's something underneath this that's so beautiful, and I'm not going anywhere until we uncover that together. And to me, it was through patience, through forgiveness, and just through unconditional love. I hope I've showed you the same, Jay, you know, and because he's really, really changed my life in so many ways. It's making me a little emotional, so I'm just really grateful for you. But yeah, so that's the work that I've had to do, and so I'm just grateful that God sent Jay to help me do it. But I still got a lot of work to do. You know, we were talking about mental health earlier, and yeah, I definitely probably need to be more intentional about sitting down with someone and not being afraid to uncover the rest of that stuff that needs to be uncovered. I think for me growing up, you know, I grew up in church. It was take it to the Lord in prayer. That's what we did. You know, you take it to the Lord in prayer, sweep that stuff up under the rug and keep it pushing. Also, artistry has been a great healing factor for me. I'm able to channel a lot of the stuff that I've had to go through in my work as an artist. So I use that. It's freeing for me. It's freedom for me. So I'm grateful to be an artist too, because my work has also been super, super healing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, I think working through, you know, those womanizing demons was a lot of the work that I had to do, because
you weren't a womanizer.
I mean, not really, but because I had, you know,
you're just a lover man.
Yeah, but I think it I had kids that I wasn't really tapped into all the way. We're gonna get deep into that, but you know, I had to get out of my own selfishness. I think that was my biggest thing. And by asking God for something and knowing He specifically answered, then it became greater than myself. You know, I felt like if I were to step out on April, I was really stepping out on God. You know what I'm saying? I embodied our relationship as a gift, and I feared the punishment more than I felt the pleasure of doing something that could potentially damage my relationship. And initially that kept me straight. As time went on, it was my admiration and absolute dedication to my wife. You know, I never wanted another woman to have anything on my wife. I never wanted anybody to say, your husband was such and such with me. That would never happen. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to protect her because I knew how damaged she was. And it did take patience on both of our sides, but I think that's resistance builds strength in so many other ways. You know, old adage, if it don't kill you, make you stronger. So if it didn't kill our relationship, it made it stronger. You know, things that I never thought I would endure, we've endured. And because of that, we are like bulletproof.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We really have a respect for each other that's beyond even just like basic friendship. I think it's a kinship.
It's a kinship. Because when we met in
so different.
in New York, immediately we moved to California together. And we didn't have no family out there. We didn't have nothing. Oh, it definitely helped because it inoculated us. All we had was each other.
That's it.
We didn't have nobody peeping in and calling mamas and cousins and brothers.
We kept everybody out of our stuff.
So we needed each other to survive for real, you know. And it was times when she was making more money than I, you know, when we first met, I was a theater actor. So she was working at Applebee's. You know what I'm saying?
So let's pause there.
Yes.
Because that's powerful, right?
All right.
in our community, it's not a narrative, it's like a real thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times there's the argument of the woman wanting the man to be packaged a certain way or vice versa. But to hear you all go through this thing together, what is your advice to our younger generation in regards to what real relationship looks like? Because there's a narrative out there, right? There's a different woman now,
Oh, yes.
respectfully,
Yes.
because women are
Yes.
extremely educated, not saying that they weren't
Certainly.
smart before or whatever, but they're degrees and now they have higher positions in work and entrepreneurs and all of those things. So what is your advice? Because you held him down and vice versa. But a lot of times we don't hear or see, not all, but a majority of our women that are just like, no, we have this expectation. If you ain't coming there, then don't even bother. Or I'm just too much for most of y'all Negroes anyway, so don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like there's
know
all
exactly what you're
these
saying.
things going on. So what do y'all both have?
I think you said something earlier. I don't know if it was during the segment or during the break, and you mentioned the word unlearn. I think we have to allow ourselves to unlearn and be deconditioned from the things we were taught to believe. I know that's what I had to do. I had to allow myself to have a mind shift with certain things, and it took time. It took patience from him because I was part of that narrative too. And sometimes in that point when I was making more money than him, I felt a certain type of power too. I felt a certain type of I'm making the most money, so do it my way, and that wasn't cool because what I did was I overlooked what he was contributing was still valuable, even though it didn't come in the form of money.
That's good, man.
You know what I mean? He was at home taking care of the kids, picking up, dropping off, making sure that there was things in the house that we needed. That stuff is valuable. So I think we have to allow ourselves to have a mind shift and unlearn the conditionings that we were taught, because it is a different day and age.
It is indeed.
And that goes for the fellas too, because a
goes for
lot
the
of
fellas,
times,
too.
men that are the majority breadwinner, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's a great point. Like, understand the importance and the value that the woman is bringing with
Yes.
what she's doing, because everything ain't monetary.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you get peace of mind and you don't necessarily have to deal with some of the things, whether it be home bills, it could be the kids, it could be whatever. So I'm glad to hear you mention that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because we overlook the other person because we're basing it on status or money or this or that. So
Programming.
Programming.
We're basing it on programming. And we mentioned offline, we were talking earlier, relationships in this modern era is like them snow globes. When everything was, everybody knew their expectations, everything was set. That don't mean it was perfect, but the snow was settled at the bottom. Everything was clear. But now we've picked up the globe and we done shook the shit out of it, and now it's snow everywhere, and we don't know which direction we're supposed to operate in. Some men think, well, I'm trying to be a breadwinner like you want me to. No, your toxic masculinity is showing. And you know what I'm saying? Or if you want to be a woman, well, I'm just trying to, operate in my own personal space. No, now you being a feminist and you trying to dog men. You know what I'm saying? We have to find a common ground, and that's what my wife and I have done. But we always say relationships are like fingerprints. What work for us may not work for everybody.
True that.
But what does work for us that can work for everybody is to communicate crystal clear with each other.
Yes.
Because the arguing and the yelling and stuff will not allow real communication to happen. Y'all talking at each other. So we had to learn, and you said something much earlier in our conversation offline, Josh, about just learning how to accept what you can control and to relinquish control of that which you can't. You know what I'm saying? That's a big part of it. I can't force her to think the way I want to think. Like April said, she doesn't sleep the way I want her to sleep because of past demons. They still haunt her. Like she says, she needs, to this day, there's work that needs to be done. And I can't do it all. But I can love her through her process. You know what I'm saying? And even though, because we want to solve problems as men, what's wrong? I want to get,
That's a fact.
she was fighting, her relationships. I wish I could whip all them dudes' ass that caused her trauma.
I have a question. But even in that, with the healing work, how did you recognize through that she was the one? Because most people come into a situation and say, okay,
That's
you have
excellent.
issues that you're struggling with. I don't want to deal with that. But it was something that shined through all of that made him say, you know what, this is ordained and I'm willing to do the work.
That's a really good question.
But while you sit there and think about
Yeah, let
that,
me
when
think
we
about
get back, relationships matter.
Yes, they do.
Relationships matter.
Welcome back to Relationships Matter. So before we went to break, I had this question. How did you see past, like, I know we as women, we do self-sabotage, especially when we've had bad experiences in the past. But there was something about April that you looked past that and you were willing to do the work. And I want to know, what was it about her that let you know she is the one? Like, you were willing to walk away from a relationship and really dedicate energy, time into making things work out with her. What was it about her that made you do that? And how did you know?
She was an answer to my prayer. Besides that,
But why?
because she pretty much embodied, if you had a checklist, and I know this is so rare when you have a checklist and you can check everything off, she had that. But what made her even more than all of that, and this transitions into what we're about to talk about, was that the fact that she was willing to walk away from me if I wasn't a better father. Her love for, and her heart was so different than any woman whom I'd ever experienced before. She was a good old country girl, and she tried to be tough. And I guess I saw through the facade that she was trying to, on her phone she had F niggas, get money
I
on
sure
her
did.
phone.
Remember that song,
You know
Lil'
what I'm
Kim?
saying?
Get money. So that was on my screen.
You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't stand guys.
Yeah,
That
she
that's
was
how
on her
damaged I
real
was.
hate guys thing. But for some reason, I was able to see through that
He saw
because
through it.
I was blinded by my faith because of the fact that I trusted God. And then she looked like I wanted her to look.
Okay.
She was from the South. She was an actress. For some reason, I'm just attracted to the actress thing because it's just,
You had that in common.
it's just we got that in common.
Right.
And she was a brilliant actress. She is a brilliant actress. One of the best I've ever seen. So that too was attractive to me. When we were on stage, I so wish y'all could see this play because it was just such a powerful
perfect for us.
testament of love for us. We start when we were 16 and then we go all the way up to we like in our 60s. So we had the gray and stuff on the play, and it was so emotional every night. And you can't have that level of emotion when you coupled with all that other stuff that I said was happening. It was just a perfect serendipitous experience. And so when I started dealing with her, I was like, no matter what happens, I'm here. It was the first time in my life I was in love. It was the first time in my life. And I was married before. But this was the first time in my life because I got married at 30 thinking it was just time to do it was a high school sweetheart type thing. But love was really when I met April. So
So she brought like the best. You talked about her demanding that you be a better
the
father.
best man
Talk
out of me.
about that. Yeah.
I had been with women before who knew I was probably married before and had kids, but nobody never mentioned it. They never held me really accountable, which I was cool with. I wouldn't like hold me accountable to this,
Right.
I was just going with the flow.
Right.
But that piece with April, she was like, you got how many kids? Because I had 3 kids,
on my checklist.
And what woman won't, to your point, Josh, you know how women have their checklist, so he got to have
3
no
kids with
and-
3
and
different
somebody-
women?
3 different women. I was like, I was a wreck, bro. I was like, man, who gonna deal with me?
Do you
So you were
think
one kid-
that should be
No,
a
there's
deal
3 different
breaker?
women.
Oh, so I thought it was 2 with the. So
No.
No, it was 3 women, 3 kids.
3 kids.
Okay,
and
one
then
with
I
the
had,
wife.
and then
One
and
with
I
the wife.
came into the relationship with one that I had, and then we had one together. So yes, it's definitely a blended family. But
So
yeah.
so I was like, but you were about to say, you were about to
what
ask a
was
question.
that?
Josh.
Well, because I think certain things should be added to the list of what to look out for. Because there's a lot of single fathers or mothers that are out here dating. That's a thing, you know what I'm
It
saying?
is,
and it's not a bad thing because there's this energy out there, for women who have kids. It's like, you ain't gonna find no man. There's energy out there for men that have all these kids, or even if they got 1 kid, it's like, you ain't going this. But to your point, I think that that's a good thing to look at. If and we're not talking about your normal circumstances, but if you have a situation where there's a mother or a father who's capable of having a better relationship to the best of their ability, not on them, but on him, to make the effort.
Yeah.
I think some people should look into that and be like, if you ain't doing your part, then I should be.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are blocking. The
Yes.
fact that you said, like, listen, bro, you don't get that right, I'm out.
Oh yes, verbatim.
That's
And it
powerful
changed. Yes.
because I think
Yes.
that a lot of people should check people about that, because if you care about a person and the individual, you care about the all.
Yes.
You know
yes.
what I mean? So
yes.
the fact that you challenge him like
Oh,
that
yeah.
to make him be
Yeah.
like, bro, you gotta get it together.
You gotta get it together.
Facts,
Yeah.
bro.
What made you, knowing that that wasn't on your list, and him having the 3 children by 3 different women, what was it about him that said, you know what, I see past that. I see his heart.
I want to
see
hear
all
about
the
that.
Beautiful things about him.
Because he saw all those beautiful things about me. Coming in damaged, not wanting anything to do with men. He saw past that and he would not leave. I could not shake this brother. I'm telling you. And I tried my best to self-sabotage this, and he would not go anywhere. So that's what showed me, like, okay, let me stop resisting. Let me surrender. Let me submit to this and see what happens. Because that wasn't part of my plan. I was a free flower blowing in the wind, but he just came in and tamed me, if you would. And so that's what made me see past. And it wasn't even see past. Kids are beautiful. It's a blessing. I'm not
Man,
But when you're
Yeah.
coming into it, you don't, it's just.
Yeah,
And
but-
it's the baby mamas and all that, and she was still royal.
Yeah, but even coming into it, I thought it was beautiful. I think that having kids are beautiful. Yeah, we don't want to be spreading our seed around so many times. I didn't think that part was beautiful. But the fact of the matter is, they're here. They didn't ask to be here. They're here. So let's do the best we can to make this work, for us to all get along and be the best versions of ourselves that we can be for these kids and show up. So I wasn't mad that he had the kids. That's part of who he is. I want to be a part of all of that. I want to love on all of that.
And she's absolutely,
yeah.
like the first time
Yes.
she drove to Savannah, because we were down, I went down from Savannah, we went down there for a Thanksgiving. She brought her daughter.
Yeah, I brought
and
my
and my
daughter.
son was sick.
Yeah.
And we took him to the doctor,
Yeah.
and this is her first time meeting him, he in there
Yeah.
coughing and stuff. So,
Yeah.
so she was, when she said she really hands-on, really hands-on. And that, I needed a Southern woman, because I've been dating other, women up north and stuff, but I needed this. That's why I was like, we're going to try this, because I've been trying everything else, man. Y'all done did it a bunch of other ways. Let me try to be faithful.
Right.
See what that happened. See what that looked like.
So you had to try being faithful. That was new for you.
That was new for me. Let me try to be faithful. And then God was like, be faithful. I'm going to match. I'm going to match your effort. And I'm going to put you in a position to have your wildest dreams. I mean, I'm married to a TV star.
But I want to point something out about
You know what I'm saying?
you guys, in terms of what you do and how you connect it, in terms of purpose, right? Because we have this idea, this list of what it is that we want, but you don't know how it's going to come packaged. But because you guys were both doing what you were called to do, you were able to look past the fact that he had the 3 kids, because there was something else brewing, something else, and you could just embrace the situation. So often we go into those situations like, he got 4 kids now. You don't even get the. You don't even give
it a
him
minute to breathe.
You
Yes.
can talk to him.
Yes.
You just shoot it down.
Yeah, but the way
God
you
may have
connected
a
it was
blessing.
different.
Yeah.
Different. And now we get to kind of just coast. We get to really, really enjoy the fruits of the labor, and it has been labor. Trust me, the kids came. It came a
So we
lot
want
of
to talk
hiccups.
about co-parenting.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
It has been a challenge. It has been in some ways, especially when you're talking about having to co-parent with moms from here and there, and everybody's not on the same mental capacity. When we're not mental capacity, but same vibrational frequency.
Emotional levels.
Yes.
Some people,
yes.
yeah,
How did you
emotional
manage
levels.
that though?
Jay really helped to manage it. I feel like Jay did such a great job by setting the tone and saying that, look, this is my wife. This is whatever decisions that are made will be made between the both of us. So everybody was very, very well aware that they're a unit. That's what it was. They're a unit, and he really set the tone for that. And I'm so grateful for that. It was never a thing where, let me call my baby mama, let me sneak to the side. No, it was always very, very open and transparent. I don't want to say some things came back to bite us, but I just will say that the emotional, the mature, it requires a great deal of emotional maturity, though, in order for it to work cohesively with all parties involved. And if the emotional maturity is not there, if the value's not there for what's best for the kid is not paramount, it doesn't always work, and it hasn't. There's still some scars.
And there are absolutely some scars, and it didn't. It's not. This is the the dirty undercarriage. It's not really the fairy tale part, but
it's
it's
the
a
dirty
part
part.
of it's a part of the relationship.
Yes.
Because like April said, now at this point when the child support done been paid,
Yeah.
and the kids are damn near
Yeah.
grown,
Yeah.
you know, and the relationships with the kids aren't ideal because there was damage. It was still trauma that everybody experienced throughout that, you know, first phase. You know, we have a daughter now that's like, you know, she living like little Denise Huxtable. You know what I'm saying?
The daughter that we share
That we
together.
share right now.
She's living great because of all the stuff we've been
That
through.
we had to experience.
We've experienced.
All the parenting that we
Yeah.
had to go through with our first kids. You know, now she gets to benefit from all
Yeah.
that because we're older, mature, more
Yeah.
stable,
Yeah.
and we're together.
Yes,
We
we
love each other. She's in the house with us.
Yeah.
She gets to be, so and I get to be a father, the way
Yes.
that I really wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know, and she gets to be, you know, because her baby daddy situation wasn't ideal
Oh, it
neither,
was
you
a
know.
mess.
But it showed me that she can have a patience
Yeah.
with somebody, you know, you can try to co-parent and let your kids visit and become know you because, you know, there's envy and stuff when you get into a relationship and maybe some people still got feelings for you.
Yeah.
You know
How
what I'm
did you
saying?
manage that though?
Like April said, I didn't play no games. It wasn't no side conversations. It wasn't no we are 100% married. This my wife,
Yeah.
and we gonna roll like this.
We make the
And,
decisions together.
and you
Yeah.
got to stand on business with that.
Yeah.
because you know
and everybody ain't gonna like it.
no,
It may not go the way you want it to go.
You
and
gonna
it hasn't.
beef. You gonna beef. It's gonna
Yeah.
be resistance. You know, because you know, if I ain't put myself in that situation, there wouldn't have been no resistance.
Right.
But I had to live through it. Like she said, I
Yeah,
did this.
We have to.
What I'm gonna do?
We have to bear
Run
the
from
cross.
it?
Yeah.
Bury my head in the sand and
We gotta
ignore
bear.
it?
We gotta bear the cross.
These kids here.
They're here.
And she received him. And I'm like, you know,
Yes.
your baby daddy, he there.
Yeah.
So we're
We
gonna
gotta-
deal with
we
that.
gotta deal
We're
with
gonna
it.
deal
If
with
we
all
love
this.
each other.
And guess what?
We
dealt
did.
with it.
We dealt with it.
And we got through it.
Yes.
And we got through it, and
Yeah.
now we chilling.
Yeah.
We ain't got to worry about that.
Yes.
We got to do, you know, we
It
ain't
ain't,
say,
some things are not ideal, but that's okay. It's okay because we still got to live our lives.
That's it.
We know at the end of the day who's watching and who has the final judgment. We know in our hearts what's the right thing to do, and we tried, and we can continue to try. But
because it ain't gonna
it's
be
a-
perfect.
No, but it's
them
a-
kids
but it's-
still gonna feel some kind of
Yeah,
way sometimes.
yeah.
Sometimes they good with you,
Yeah.
sometimes they not.
Yeah.
But you love them consistently.
still love 'em?
You know, if they call you tomorrow, like me and my son ain't talked to me. I got, you know, we ain't talked in a while.
Yeah.
But if he call me right now, I answer the phone and be like,
Yeah.
son, what's happening? Let's get
Yeah.
this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the ball in his court. You know, and I know you think, man, I'm the parent I'm supposed to be. You human. You're human.
Still human.
You're human.
Human.
So you got to understand, you know, you do what you can and
Yeah.
amore fata.
Yeah.
You know, whatever can be gonna be. But I ain't malicious. I ain't trying to hurt nobody.
No.
I'm right here. I'm
Yeah.
real here. So,
So, yeah,
she's you know, it's just so great to have somebody bear witness to your life, man.
Yeah.
My wife is bore witness to all this.
Yeah.
And I
You
bore
too.
witness to her life.
Yeah.
And we can report her. We got each other.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, it made me a real man to stand on business with so much. Now I'm getting emotional. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
It ain't.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. When we got married, I couldn't get my vows out because I was crying so hard. I couldn't get them out in front of all these people. But man, I couldn't get them out because when I saw her come through that door, I saw my future, I saw my present, I saw my past, I saw my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, baby. Thank you.
I ain't gonna do
Yeah.
no
And
more.
the best is yet to come.
And the best is yet. Oh, we
The
still
best is yet to come.
The best is yet
Yeah,
to
the best
come.
is yet to come.
You know, we celebrating a grandbaby now. we
Yeah,
got a
we
grandson.
grandparents. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Loving us and waking us
Yeah.
up in the morning.
Yeah, they all
you
in the
know.
house with us.
Yeah, we done got a little baby. We got an apartment set up for them downstairs.
Yeah, yeah.
But we want them home.
Yeah, yeah.
So we can have everybody
It's a good
there.
life.
You know, it's a
been
good life, man.
It's,
We
it's
ain't
come with
tripping.
it's come with some stuff, but it's
But we
a
stayed
good
the
life.
course, man.
Stayed
Y'all stay the
course.
course, man. Y'all young couple stay the course,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Y'all love each other through all this heartache and pain. Because
because
it's
this too
worth
shall
it.
pass.
it's
and
worth
the best
it.
is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. It's worth it. It's worth it. All this hate that we got for one another
Yeah.
need to stop, man. It's
Yeah.
love.
Love.
God ordained this for us to be together, not apart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's love each other through this, man. You know, I got my queen.
Thank you, brother.
Get you one.
I'm waiting for you to jump in on this conversation.
Josh, what you got to say,
I
Josh?
didn't want to jump in. I had to let them have that moment. We got, you know, there was some emotions there. There was a lot going on. Y'all are each other's safe space.
Yes.
That's facts, bro.
Do y'all feel safe with yourself, though?
Yes. With ourselves?
Yeah.
I do now.
I got mine,
do.
man.
I
I
do.
don't want nothing to come.
I
It's a
do.
bunch of fine
Yes,
women.
yes.
It's a
I
bunch
do.
of fine women in the world.
Yeah.
But this one mine.
Yeah, I feel safe with myself. I feel safe with Jay. I feel safe in our family unit. I feel safe because I know who I am. and I know whose I am. And that's what makes me
That's
feel
the
good.
center of it all.
Yes.
God is, notice I done said about 8 times, God ordained this.
Yes.
God put this in front of me. God did
Yes.
this for me. God put me in position to be in this life that I'm in. And I'm grateful. And I give all God the glory,
Yes.
first and foremost.
Yes.
And then
God
I
be the
give my
glory.
wife, my
The
queen.
fact that you can recognize that God ordained, that sets the tone for everything,
everything else.
Because then you can get through anything else.
Anything
and then you got
else.
somebody who you go through it together
Anything
with.
else.
Yeah.
Anything. That's why I say that's all that, being faithful, working through the baby mama dramas and the baby daddy dramas and the no money and her making more money than me. That shit bothered me at first, bro.
Yes.
I was broken up about that. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? We was, man.
Man, it was tough. We got through that.
But we grew through
We
it.
grew
We grew through
through
because we had
that.
to unlearn and learn stuff together. We was
Man,
like,
Josh, we
okay,
had
how
to
we gonna work through this?
unlearn.
Even when we moved to Atlanta, when she started making a lot of money, she started that mess again. And I was like, okay, remember?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, remind me
You know what I'm
that
saying?
trip,
You know what I'm
that-
saying?
yeah.
We had
Yeah.
to get back at it
Yeah.
and come to that understanding.
Yeah.
But we did,
We
man.
did.
I have a
Proud of
question
us.
for you, just because I just want you to elaborate. You spoke on it briefly. You talked about having a son and not speaking to your son,
Yeah.
but being available.
Yeah.
If
And
he
my
picked
daughter
up the
sometimes,
phone.
yeah.
And so and your daughter, how do you manage that, not having that line of communication with your kids?
You look at the totality of why it's that way.
Yes.
Because it's nothing that, the last time I had, he got to some little situations and he spent the summer with us and my eldest son committed suicide that summer. Yeah, I have a son that committed suicide too. She was there for that. This was in 2018, right? So just imagine the guilt and the pain and all that, you know what I'm saying? I'm going through. It was a watershed event in my life. Thank God for God, you know what I'm saying? But my son was there through it. My youngest boy was there through all that. So I thought that was going to galvanize us. But when you got situations that's outside of your control, things that you cannot control, you can't expect to be able to have things turn out the way you exactly want them. So I'm open. There's been conversations. We're not going to be disrespected ever. So if that's the way you feel as if you need to communicate, then we ain't going to communicate till you feel like that disrespect is gone. So because we've done nothing wrong. And we know that because she's bore witness to everything, as I said. She's kept me honest because I told you, she wasn't even gonna have a relationship with me if I wasn't a better father. So it's countless hours I flew from California to Georgia to try to get all the kids together, leaving my wife and going, it's just.
I think the main thing too, Chanel, when we're talking about maybe sometimes the dysfunction or the disjointing of the family unit, Jay's right. You have to look at the whole entire picture. So it's not just Jay and the son. It's Jay the son and the mom. It's Jay the son and whoever in the mom's ear.
And that-
and when all parties, to me, when they don't put the priority on what's best for the kid, it can be chaos. We lose so much time if we don't put the main thing. The main thing is the happiness of the child and what's best for the child. But everybody's got to be on the same page
and let
with
the
that.
child decide what the
Everybody's got to be
parent
on the same
is.
page with
Don't
that and be
poison.
supportive of that. And when they're not supportive of that, then you're going to have dysfunction. You're going to have disjoining, and you're going to have to deal with the consequences of that. And if that's time going by that you may not speak, but God knows, I think that's what you have to settle with. Like, God, am I pleasing you? God, am I pleasing you? So I think for Jay's journey, he's at peace because he knows that he's doing what he can, and that's all. After you do what you can,
Amore
just stand.
fata.
Yeah, amore fata. So it's been tough. It's been tough, and those are the ugly parts. When you look at the couples, they're in love, they're
They're in
good.
love.
But there's
But
stuff.
that's what makes them
That's
in
what
love.
makes them in love. Yeah.
That's the stuff that cements
the
them bricks
glues,
together.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To keep that house from falling when the wind blow.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we done been through it all. You name it.
through it all.
We done been through kid, man. You name it.
Yeah.
We have endured it.
Yes.
And I ain't but 52.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like she say, the best is still yet to come.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But the way you two support each other it's so amazing to watch, to be able to have
Thank you.
that partner
Thank
to
you.
go through it with.
And to
Right.
grow.
And to
and to
grow through it with.
right.
Yeah, don't run.
Don't run.
What type of relationship you want? You want a fair weather friend? Listen to them old R&B songs, man. You know, I love Jagged Edge. And Walk Right Out of Heaven kept my behind in the house many a night. When the cats called me, feel like I just walked right out. My best friend left me. My mama told me to call and give us. Listen to them songs before you commit that act. Listen to that before you go out to the club and kick it with them kids on your partners on this little bachelor party night. Think about what
Look
you
at the
really
whole picture.
what you really putting into jeopardy.
So
Man, keep your behind to the crib.
I think we do that. We look at the snapshot, so we don't look at the big picture sometimes in life. So sometimes you got to look at everything in its totality. Look at the big picture, and I think that's what's helped us grow, and just
Today has been beautiful, and
Yes.
you know, Queen, such a beautiful, amazing story. You as a woman, a wife, a mother, businesswoman. Thank you for being an example.
Thank
You know what I mean?
Amen.
Not just for other women, but for men too.
Amen.
Because we have jaded view of what our women look, talk, sound like, and all of those things. And you've taken accountability because you said, I am that. But I make a choice to do the work and become, you know, a better version of myself. So I want to tell you, love you, proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
King, God bless you, my brother. Truly a blessing to be in your presence. And, you know, I relate to a lot of things that you shared, you know what I'm saying? But I know this conversation was more so to hear from your perspective. But I think you're a beautiful brother, man. And I think that you have a lot to give to men that look like us and for our young queens and our queens period, just to see an example of a man who has gone through it, still going through it,
That's
but
right.
he's willing to do the work, and he's willing to jump into the danger zones of what it doesn't look like or know what it looks like, but just being willing because you're like, man, I'm under God, I'm gonna put this woman first.
Dig it.
And I think that that's a beauuful thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, marriage isn't for everybody.
Those are facts. That's right.
Being a mother or father isn't for everybody.
That's a fact.
But the fact that you both are willing to stand the test of times for each other, I think that it's important that we see that people are just willing to fight for each other instead of against each other. So thank you both for this time. Like, I'm sure we could have talked 5 more shows.
Easy.
But we appreciate y'all and you know, definitely hope y'all come back again.
Man, whenever y'all want to.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all, man.
We love y'all, and again, we're gonna sign out, man. Another great one. Y'all add this one to the list, man. Relationships matter, man. Y'all check us out, man. We out.
Relationships matter. I need you to understand. Relationships matter.